Hey everyone. So this video I wanted to do last week, but there was just so much information that was just kind of dropping every single second last week and the week before that I never really found the time to do it. I just kind of wanted to kind of talk about the things I thought were a bit more important and I guess funner to talk about. But yeah, it was the Sombra limited double trouble hack mode thing. And dear Lord, I love what Blizzard is doing. Ever since season 9, they are, well, I guess they had the hacked thing a while ago. Yeah, they had the hacked thing a while ago, and I thought that was a good idea. But for them to do another one so soon, good job, Blizzard. Again, to be fair, I hated this mode. I thought it was absolutely horrible, and I'll get into why. But what I did like was that they're taking these big swings, these huge swings, these big changes to the game, just to see. And it's almost like I said, I think like sometime last year, where when I was very pessimistic towards the game, that Overwatch 2 is a game that's still in beta, because it does seem like they're still trying to figure out what the hell they're doing, but in a much better way. So yeah, although I hated this and I completely just wanted to stay clear completely away from quick play, I do love that they're trying all these things. I like that they're being more aggressive and looking into things that I guess I didn't really think about. Maybe a lot of people also didn't think about. But you know, there's a lot of things happening in the background, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, a lot of the decisions they're making now make sense. And you can kind of see where their mindset is at. Even the last patch they had in the game, it made sense, right? The way I described it before was like the patches made sense, but it wasn't for anything that was actually needed. But for the characters that they did change, I could see the mindset for it, at least for the most part, right? The Margot one was stupid, but they quickly nerfed him again. So yeah, something like this can be something that's checked off as in, hey, we tried it, and no, this is not a good idea. At least from my experience. Just throw this in the box of things we tried that, you know, that didn't work out. But we looked at it, but we should never do this again. And so I guess let's talk about what happened during the hacks. So essentially they combined open queue and role queue, where there was open queue within each of the roles. So you can have 2 of any character inside of the role that, you know, that has 2 characters. So DPS and support. And I personally had never thought of anything like this, right? Because it was a mix of 2 systems, right? The system we had when Overwatch first came out and the new system after, you know, just so much anger and vitriol was kind of running rampant in the community, where people were just sick, especially me. I had stopped playing Overwatch during the time where nobody ever wanted to play a decent comp, right? Unless you're like at a high level, and I guess back then I wasn't that high of a level, but unless you're like at a point in the game where people were actually trying to win and they could kind of put their ego aside and like play things that kind of made sense, they were not working with you like at all. It was horrible. It was to the point where I was like, there's no point in playing Overwatch if you're not playing with your friends. That was back then, and that was like that was like below masters. And I guess from the beginning of Overwatch to like, I don't know, until I get to like diamond or something. So as I climbed through everything, and I did kind of solo climb, so I don't know what I was talking about. I was just really angry at the game. It was just so frustrating. People were toxic, and it was just a bad time. And this mode coming back reminded me of everything I hated during that era. Oh my gosh. And I'm pretty sure a lot of it was just people trolling because they brought it back. So they just kind of, oh, you're playing Widow, let me play Widow too. I'm pretty sure that was 60% what was happening. Because every game I would play, I'd have like 2 Widows or 2 Soldiers or like 2 Torbjorns. And I'm just like, guys, this isn't working. Can somebody switch? And then I always get hit with the, shut up, it's quick play. I'm like, what is up with that argument anyways? Like, yes, something could be quick play, but like to just do something you know is complete nonsense for no reason. Like I know it's supposed to be laid back, right? And when I play quick play, I'm laid back. But you get a little frustrated when it's just something that's just so. When you have like two widows, and the enemy team has like a tracer and a sombra, and the widows won't switch off, and then you're like, you both are just being murdered every 2 seconds. What is the point? And I'm not saying that quick play needs to be sweaty or anything, right? And although the devs did say that it's sweaty, it's very sweaty. But I don't go into quick play, trying to go that hard. Or you guys have seen some of the gameplay I put up, right? A lot of it is some things I do is nonsense, right? Well, half of these is me like drinking with my buddies at night, just talking shit, and I just kind of record it and put it on because it's laid back, and I'm very busy, so I can't always be on comp. But if we are getting trounced, and it's obviously because we have, like, again, two widows, that's something. I think you're allowed to be a little upset, or not even upset, just annoyed. Also, for everybody who I guess came in like late in Overwatch 1 or only in Overwatch 2, you haven't seen frustration until you've played against was it a quadruple Torbjorn team. I don't know if I ever played against a quadruple Torbjorn team. I know definitely at least 3, but 4, I gotta think back. I'm not entirely sure. But it was quite the Wild West back then, because you would think that people would want to win. And I'm talking about like competitive games too. You think people would want to win, but it turns out, left onto their own devices, a lot of people don't care. So yeah, this reminded me exactly why we went to just one person playing a character per role. Like this was, I was having such a bad time. Like I'm glad we revisited it just to see why it's bad. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all. But, we learned a lot from it. But I do want to say, however, it was really cool that I think I found Reinhardt to be much more useful in a mode like that. Because since so many people were playing Widow, and let's say double Widow, double Soldier, double, what's his name, Torbjorn, Rein's giant shield was very helpful for the team, like, as a whole. And I would love to see a mode like this work where, you can do these combinations. I think it'll open up the gameplay a lot more. The problem is there's just too many people. There's just too much chaos that would ensue. But yeah, like I said earlier, I'm really happy that Overwatch is trying this. And honestly, again, it's because of things like this in the hacked mode where I could possibly see, and somebody said this in the comments in a few videos ago, where I can see them doing this for 6v6. Like, honestly, I could see this happening for 6v6, and maybe even doing a version where they tone it down. Well, essentially just 6v6, but they reduce all the tank's abilities. They kind of nerf all their abilities to something kind of, palatable. And, ask players if they have like a poll or something on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And they just say, hey, everyone, would you rather have 6v6 with like horrible queue times, or would you rather have 5v5 with low queue times? And then they can implement it for, like, let's say a week, and then they ask it again, and then if it stays consistent that people would rather have the 6v6 and are willing to wait for the cooldown, did I say cooldowns? Queue times. If they're willing to have 6v6 and have the queue times, then maybe, right? Maybe we can get something, right? Maybe a little bit. Because who knows, if maybe the game is funner overall to play when it's 6v6, and that's what I personally do think. And that might make people want to play 6v6 a little more. In the last interview Aaron had with Flats, he did mention that the queue times for people, I think in Diamond and Masters, were normal, where there was an equal amount of people trying to play tank, DPS, and support. So during those times, those queue times, they didn't have the problem that all the other queue times had, right? Where nobody wanted to play tank. Everybody below them and everybody above them, they didn't have the problems that those guys were having. So that's interesting. I'd like to I don't delve into why they think that might have been the case, but it's very, very interesting information. Well, anyways, that's it for this video. Pretty short. I think I have a flight today. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so if I can't post another video for a few days, then you guys know why. I'll be in a different location for work. But yeah, so leave your comments in the comment section and tell me if you like what I'm saying, if it's stupid or not. Like and subscribe, and most of all, don't forget, I love you. Also, gonna plug in my book again. I wrote a high fantasy adventure YA book based off of African mythology, and here's the ad. If you guys are interested, then links in the comments, and link is in the description. Sorry about that, I'm tired. Konfaga, Roots of a Very Old Tree, a high fantasy young adult book with a modern take on African mythology. After a mysterious confrontation with his father at school, Marcus Jobda finds himself in the land of Kara. With a small band of determined adventurers and a robust magic system he must quickly learn, Marcus begins his search for his family, a way home, and simultaneously tries to discover the mystery of the disappearances. From escaping Mamiwara and preventing wars between kingdoms, he'll need every edge his wits can give him to see the next day. However, the more he learns, the less things appear as they seem. But does he really want to go back to his old life? With hundreds of illustrations filled with clues of the history of the world, join Marcus as he attempts to solve this mystery. Konfaga, Roots of a Very Old Tree is available now on Amazon. Link in the description.